Welcome to Deep Thought. Ride out changes in society. I'm gonna tell you what, and this is something that you really need to go back to what I was talking about this past Tuesday. Like, any problem can be solved through thinking, because you're gonna need it. And I mean, people are talking about the changes in society and everything coming up and all that stuff. There's always changes. I'm gonna tell you what, stuff don't stay the same. Stuff don't stay the same. Just the fact that people grow up from a baby to an older person, they're going through changes. Your body is going through changes. Whatever your body is now, 7 years from now, will not be the same. You're going to have a different set of cells. In fact, you have cells dying every day, being born every day. So a few years from now, whatever your body is, you're going to have technically a different body. It's going to look the same and all of that, but your cells and everything going to be new, And we ain't even talking about like putting on weight, losing weight, putting on muscle, anything like that, right? That's a change. You might not be living in the same area, And if you look at overall society, there's always changes. There's always changes. There's people dying, there's people born, the economy goes up and down, and it could be anything. It could be beyond your control. I remember when I was working at this retail store, and it was during the Christmas season. Now, we would usually make a lot of money off of selling winter stuff, like gloves and coats and everything. It was particularly warm this particular winter. That changed, that probably lost to like a CEO and everything. It was like, wait a minute, it's warm. We got all these winter coats and everything. We got all these gloves, we got all these hats. But that's a change, They might have had to lay off some people. Shoot, and speaking of layoffs, how many people have been on some jobs and they've been laid off? That's a change. That's a change. Going through different relationships, that's a change. You might, when you meet that other person, that mate, everything going great, like in the first few days you meet them. Shoot, I've met people, they'll meet somebody ready to marry them right away and everything. But then a few months later, they can't stand them. They don't want to be around them. Block, all of that. That's a change. I'm going to tell you what, any changes that's in society, they're going to happen. The only thing you can really do is just ride them out. You have to be able to adapt to them. It's going to come. It's going to be something. It could be anything. Like it or not, you might be living with an elder or something. You might actually be living with the elder, and then, maybe they pass away. That could change a whole lot. I know a lot of people, younger people, they living with somebody older who's bringing in some money, but if they pass away, that could make a big difference, And of course, we have the political situation. We ain't gonna get into that, Always the economic situation. We always talking about the economy, It could be some new movements that come up, anything. But when these changes happen, all you can really do is ride them out. Like the changes, they might affect you personally, they might not affect you, but they still happening. They could be affecting somebody that you're close to. They're still happening. All you can do is ride that out. Nothing stays the same. Anybody, in fact, you got some people out here, they want things to stay the same. I was like, they be like, I want things to go back to where they was. It's not gonna happen. Change is inevitable. It's like, this last year I had that stroke. I may never get back to 100%, but that was a definite change. So what am I going to do? Ride it out, or am I going to complain? Or I'm just going to say, you know what, that was a change. I got to change how I eat, how I do stuff, a lot of different things. I just had to ride it out, Changes in society that's coming up. Because even if you don't think it, yeah, you still want to have control over your own life. And you still want to control that to your best, but then some outside of you could affect you. Like say you working at a company, right? Say you working at a company, everything doing something. But then the company next to it or something else, they change. They go out of business. It could affect your company depending on what you're doing. Like here's a business example. Say you have a business like a restaurant or something, cafe, whatever. They get their business from people working at a factory right next to them, right? What happens when the factory goes out of business? The factory goes out of business or the factory moves or something. That's affecting your business. That's affecting that cafe. That's a change right there. Now, you can complain about it or you got to figure out something different. In fact, there's been a lot of businesses that's gone out, but they might have changed something. They just rolled it out. Because change is going to happen. Change is going to happen. Like every time something happens, even with what I do now, I'm always paying attention to any changes in society because I'm like, okay, I can just affect what I'm doing right now. And trust me, there's a lot of little things. It hasn't touched me yet, and it might never touch me. But then if it does touch me, then I'm already got a plan. Like if there's something happen with YouTube, whatever the case, I already got stuff in place so I can like ride that out. And that's important. That's important. And you know, it comes down to thinking. It's like, okay, what happens if this happens? It's like, oh, okay, I just go here, I just do this, boom, boom, boom. I ride it out, you know? Because sometimes, look, it's not always a bad thing. Riding out a change can actually, if you actually ride it out right, you can actually benefit from it. There's been many a person, they might have lost a job or their business might have gone out, you know, because of some changes beyond their control. But what they do, they changed up. They changed up maybe the products they were selling or what they were working on or whatever the case. They say, okay, this what I'm gonna do now. This how I'm gonna make money. You know, you got some businesses like a food business, like a restaurant or something. You know, they might say, hey, everybody like cherry pie. They weren't selling cherry pie at first, but everybody liked cherry pie. We're gonna start selling cherry pie. You know, that's the change. Or you got some of these businesses that a lot of restaurants are starting to sell vegan food because a lot of people are becoming vegan. And they starting to offer vegan stuff. They riding out the change. You know, that's a change, and you know, they not stuck in, oh well, that's all we're gonna sell. It's like, oh no, let's put some vegan things on the menu. That's the important thing. You gotta ride it out, all right? So I want y'all to think about that. Because change is inevitable. It's going to change. Just like the weather is changing, everything is going to change. What you going to do about it? You know, stuff might not go back to what it was. Some people, you know, people get stuck sometimes. It's like, well, no, life has changed. Your body's changing. Everything else is changing. People changing. Circumstances are changing. Societies are changing. You know, what are you going to do about it? All you can do is really ride it out and figure out how to ride it out. Think on how to ride it out, all right? So anyway, that's all I have. I want y'all to think on this, all right? And I'll get back with y'all. Y'all have a good weekend, all right? Peace and blessings.